Hello people, my name is Don Weil. In this video, I will be reviewing the Himiway B3 folding electric bike. Normally on this YouTube channel, I present information about my Murgatroyd invention. There are plenty of other videos on this channel about that. In addition to reviewing the Himiway B3, I'll also be talking about some of the accessories I've added to my e-bike. For the last 30 years, I've been riding a down-tube, 20-inch tire folding bike. Having had a great time on an e-bike in Monterey, I decided I wanted an electric bike of my own. And so I went through a process of trying to locate the perfect e-bike for me. I like the low center of gravity of a bike with 20-inch tires. I thought it important that the e-bike fold in the rare event that I had a breakdown on the road or a flat and needed to put it into a Uber or Lyft and take it back to my car. A torque sensor rather than a cadence sensor was an absolute must for the more natural riding experience. In addition to finding a bike with a torque sensor, I was convinced I did not want a bike with fat tires. Fat tires are traditionally underinflated, maybe 15 to 20 psi, are heavier and bulky, so I don't want that in a bike that I want to be able to lift in and out of my car. Also, bikes without the fat tire, in particular the Himiway, which has the 2.4-inch tire width, are able to be inflated with tire pressures as much as 60 psi. That's the maximum tire pressure for the Himiway. I inflated to about 50 psi though. Other criteria that were important to me was a long range for the bike. In this case, the Himiway has a reported 70 miles, which is definitely a good number. And I wanted one with a short wheelbase. This is because I wanted to try and load it into my 2008 CR-V without folding. It's a little harder to lift a folded bike than it is to simply wheel one into your car. I'll show that a little bit later in this video. Also, I wanted a bike that had good suspension. Himiway has front suspension, no rear suspension, which unfortunately is a problem, but can be easily fixed with a suspension seat post, which I'll show you a bit more about later as well. Also, I wanted an e-bike that has at least 7 gears. So doing a search on this really came up with the Himiway B3 pretty uniquely in a price range that is very affordable. $1,500 is the amount I paid for that bike. I really like the Himiway's step-through frame, which allows you to easily mount the bike without having to lift your leg over a large center post. And I like the idea of having a removable and lockable battery. The removable battery is useful for me because it allows me to reduce the weight of the bike when lifting it in and out of my Honda CR-V. The B3's front suspension works extremely well, but the lack of a rear suspension I found to be quite bumpy. So I replaced it with a suspension seat post that I got from Amazon, and I was very, very impressed at that point with how comfortable and smooth the ride was. I'm very impressed with the seat that came with the B3. Extremely comfortable over a long ride. Because I changed out the seat post with one that has suspension, taking out the battery is a little bit different. In this case, you have to remove the seat post, undo that latch, remove the seat post. You have to unlock the battery, which you insert the battery key, simple counterclockwise turn, and now the battery should just come right out. The handlebar height of the B3 is fixed, but it suits my 5'11" frame. Within the past 2 years that the Himiway B3 has been released, they've upgraded the display on the bike to that of a color display, and I really do like it. It's very visible in all lights. I'd like to point out an error in the manual that in order to light the front lights and the rear lights, you actually use the plus button. Hold the plus button for about 2 seconds to turn it on and off. The Himiway battery seems to last forever. The indicator is divided into 5 sections. There's 3 white, 1 brown, and 1 red. I don't think each section corresponds to an equivalent amount of charge, however. So while you may go 30 to 40 miles before the first indicator turns black, it will be fewer miles before the second indicator turns black. Also, at this time, I don't know if you can continue to ride or for how many miles when the indicator shows just 1 red section. There's plenty of room on the handlebar for adding accessories. I added a cell phone holder And I also added a holder for a Garmin, which I use for altitude and other statistics. As an engineer, I kind of like measuring lots of things. The distance indicator on the display resets every time the power to the Himiway is turned on. It would be better to allow the rider to choose when to reset the odometer. I'll leave links in the bottom of this video for all the accessories that I've added.
So the folding latch is a little bit difficult sometimes to do. There's a knobby on the bottom. You have to pull it forward, then you pull this latch out, and then it'll fold. Putting it back in, you pull the latch forward, push it in. Sometimes it works better than others. I find I had to oil it a little bit to loosen it up. This is by far the best phone holder I've come across. You basically put the phone in, slip it in, and on the back is a little switch, and that's it. Taking it in and out is the simplest thing in the world. You push the switch back, you pull up, and you're gone.
Rather than lifting the weight of a folded bike all at once, at my age I found it easier to roll it into the back of my Honda CR-V.
I'm now going to demonstrate how I put my bike into my car without folding it. I've taken out the battery and I've taken out the seat post and I folded over the handlebars. And basically I'm going to put up first the front tire into the car, leaving the back tire on the ground, and then I'm going to lift the back tire up in, moving the bike over. And there it fits nicely into the car. I may have to move the back wheel over a little bit. And usually I bungee it here down with a cord through the middle of it and connect it to the seat post in the back there.
When I first got the bike, the rear light was facing down because the metal bracket holding it was bent incorrectly. I took the light off and bent the bracket so the light faced towards the back, as shown here. I added bent tire valve extenders to make the tires easier to fill. I carry all these items with me in a pouch that I have. On the left is a mini electric tire pump. It's great. I also carry a bungee cord, stands tire sealant, a Schrader valve remover, and spare Schrader valves. I also carry the tools that came with the bike. Thank you, Himiway. Himiway was also thoughtful enough to provide a bell and a lock. The B3 has 7 gears and 5 pedal assist levels. I typically ride on pedal assist level 1. With pedal assist, I find I keep the bike in the highest gear, which is 7. Without pedal assist, I find I'm riding maybe about 6 miles per hour slower than with pedal assist. I change to a higher pedal assist level if there is a steep hill or high winds. However, by downshifting, you could stay in pedal assist level 1 for all those conditions. Without pedal assist, the bike is a dream to ride, and 7 gears is definitely enough. An 8th gear would have been nice to achieve a slower cadence when traveling above 15 miles an hour. The top power assisted speed of 20 miles per hour is more than enough. The throttle is a nice feature for when you need a quick boost. There's also a nice motor assisted walking mode. Sometimes you have to walk your bike. While walking, if you continue to press the negative button on the speed control, a controlled amount of motor assist will greatly aid your walking. Though not hydraulic, the mechanical brakes seem to have plenty of stopping power. I had the B3 shipped directly to my home. Assembling it went smoothly as there wasn't much to do. That being said, if I had it to do over again, I'd purchase the bike from one of Himiway's many local dealers or have it shipped to one of them. That way you can rest assured the bike is adjusted properly and won't have to worry about any damage that might have occurred in the mail. Plus you support your local bike dealer. In my case, I had to bring the bike in to have the gears adjusted as the downshifter was getting stuck. When trying to figure out how to turn on my headlights, I called Himiway's excellent customer support. I had no trouble getting through to a helpful human on their phone. I'm including a link below for you to use to purchase a Himiway bike. However, I want you to know that any funds I receive from this link will be donated to the charity Rails to Trails Conservancy. Rails to Trails Conservancy is building a nation connected by trails, reimagining public spaces to create safe ways to be active outdoors. Let me be clear though, I'm not making this video for any kind of personal gain. The only reason I made it is because when I was shopping for an e-bike and I wanted to know more about the B3, I felt there was not enough information on YouTube, and that's why I'm doing it. In conclusion, riding an e-bike is an amazing amount of fun. Steep hills and high winds are no longer an issue. The miles just melt away. It's like being given a superpower. With e-bike, I can easily average 12 miles an hour, and more often than not, I'm riding at about 15 miles an hour. A typical e-bike ride for me is about 40 miles round trip. I usually ride for about 4 hours with lunch in the middle. I've had to rethink all of my routes in order to extend the distance of my rides, and yes, I'm still getting quite a lot of exercise as I'm pedaling hard the entire way. So there you have it. For me, with the additions I've made, this e-bike is nearly perfect. In all regards, I highly recommend the Himiway B3. Thanks for watching.